We're on episode number 81 already, which is pretty crazy. We used to do one a week, and I've been doing this for over a year and a half now. It's pretty cool. Everything's going good, but it's because of great guests like the one we have today. He's a stud in the industry. If you don't know him, you're about to get to know him. He's got a super successful business. We'll let him tell the story, but he's the CEO and president of Pestmaster Services of the Hudson Valley. And if you guys don't know who Pestmaster is, they are a large franchise. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I think you're by far the largest franchise in the country, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So thanks for taking the time with us today.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we met, was it 2 years ago at the conference?
Yep.
At Power, yeah. Chris Mareshi, right? We were out there with the Real Desk guys. Think they bought us dinner that night?
2 weeks ago. 2 weekends ago, I was with Chris.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard it was a good time.
We did have a good time.
You were in the franchising world, and I was not right at that time. And, I told you what my plan was. I told you what our plan was, just keep growing where we're growing. And you're the one who actually said, no, you need to do franchising. You really should do this. You and the wife. So it really got the wheels spinning, right? Like you really started turning that night. And then, a year later, it took a long time. It takes a while to go through everything. And we finally started offering some franchising, which is really cool. So
hey, we appreciate that.
Why don't you just tell us how you got into the industry to begin with? I know that was a long time ago, Paul.
It was. I got to go back to a long time ago. I started in the industry in 1987. Yeah, I started in Miami at a company called Advantage Pest Control. And I was going to college or starting to go to college for criminal justice and I needed a job. And just like probably 98% of the people that I know in the industry and probably all your listeners, nobody wakes up and says, I want to be a bug man. It just doesn't happen. So we actually surveyed our own staff about 2 months ago. And not one of them ever planned on being in the pest control industry. But yet, here we are. I love the industry. Started in 1987, ended up getting licensed in Florida, moved to North Carolina, got licensed in North Carolina, got divorced in North Carolina, ended up going to Texas where my father was at the time, went to work for a company called MetroGuard Pest Control. They're still in business. And worked there for quite a while, like 6 or 7 years, and met my wife. And we went back to Florida, where I'm from, a little town called Vero Beach. And we ended up I got out of the industry for a little while. And, of course, it dragged me back into it. Went back to Texas, went back to MetroGuard, worked for them for a couple more years until we decided my father had retired here in Kingston, New York, or the Hudson Valley. And he, being his only child and having his only grandson or grandchild at the time, he was like, move here, start your own company, do pest control. So, okay. And here we are 24 years later with probably the largest independently owned, actually it is the largest independently owned pest control business in our area in the Hudson Valley. Largest franchise in the Pestmaster network. We started the Pestmaster in March of 2000. Got our first big contract win in March on our 1 year anniversary date of March of 2001. And then we still have that contract to this day. That's a little military base that some of y'all might have heard of. It's called West Point Military Academy.
Super cool.
I've seen people come in as a new employee there and go out and retire with a pension, and I'm still there.
Right on. So what made you start off with this? What made you choose Pestmaster franchise at the time?
Probably cost more than anything else than the sales pitch by Jeff Van Diepen at the time. Because we talked to Truly and Orkin and, it was more of a family-owned business. It suited what we needed. I had no business experience whatsoever, man. I literally came from my wife and I owned a candy shop during our break from Pestmaster. From Pest Control. We owned a candy shop, ice cream parlor on the beach. and we got socked by a couple of hurricanes that kind of put the damper on ice cream and hot dogs for quite a while for me. And we ended up opening the Pestmaster branch, and it's been good.
Yeah. But I mean, you could have just went and done it on your own, right? You could have just went and got a truck and you already knew what to do. But again, why did you choose a franchise? Right?
Thinking back then, it was kind of, I think, so I had enough experience that, yeah, I could open my own pest control business. But, certain values of coming into a new market that I didn't know anybody. So most people go and they open it. Oh, hey, you know what? I've been doing pest control for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I know all these people. I have all these clients that or my company that I currently work for have all these clients. So the mindset from what I see in the different Facebook group chats is like, I'm just going to open my own business. And then like 3 months later, you're seeing so-and-so opened their own pest control company. Now they're stealing all my clients, right? I didn't even have that benefit. I didn't work for anybody up here. So I had 0 clients. So it was all literally, I have to go and knock on doors and hand out business cards and just show my face to the real estate, bring donuts into the real estate office. Hey, use me for your WDI inspections, to get to know everybody. And so it took a while to do home shows and things like that. So it took a while.
So those first 2 years or a year and a half before you got the big military contract was pretty tough?
The first year we did $35,000 March through December.
So yes.
Then on 1 year anniversary, then we got the West Point contract, and then it's been.
How did you get that one?
Through the contracts department at Pestmaster. Yeah, they have a dedicated team that's for all their franchises and their corporate stores. They just go after the government contracts. They find the government contracts. So
what does the services look like for the government? Like how often are you there and how long are you there?
We're there every day. So being in the Hudson Valley, we are probably the most full service pest control company that you'll ever deal with, right? So people say when you think of a full service pest control, you're thinking, oh, you do termites, bed bugs, and general pests and rodents. We have a canine. We do heat treatments, cryo treatments. We do termite. We do wildlife. We do aquatic vegetation. We do nuisance wildlife. We'll do large bird jobs. So there's really not a whole lot in the pest control realm of things that we are not capable of doing.
That's impressive. So how much of your revenue is like one-time services versus recurring?
87% of mine are recurring revenue.
Super impressive. Well, obviously, it was built that way for a reason.
Of course, yeah. I mean, and we're trying to get away. We're trying to get away from even doing any one times at this point. I mean, we'll take them, but they're not. We don't offer them. It's kind of like I can only do this. If it's the customer is going to go somewhere else, or we get to have to do a one time, then we'll do the one time.
Right. Like a bed bug heat treatment type situation.
Right. Yeah. We have recurring revenue on our wildlife. We have recurring revenue on that at this point too. So
how many technicians do you keep at that job for the government?
It varies. It can go anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7. I have 42 staff members and I think 38 technicians.
It's not a very small company.
It is not a small company.
At this point in your career, Paul, what does your day-to-day look like?
Today I ran about 6 estimates and did a case-making clothing moth job, and my wife's in the hospital, everybody, so I got to go see her about 3 times today, and so every day is different. But I get in the office anywhere from 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning this time of year. Otherwise, in this winter time, I'm rolling in at 9 o'clock or so, but this time I get in between 6 and 7. And, I do all my bookkeeping and get my proposals out, my government contracts out, and do my pricing. I have my office manager. She helped assist me with government contracts.
So if you haven't heard about Gorilla Desk yet, it's a super sick software. It's actually made by one of my really close friends, Chris Mareshi. So Chris built Gorilla Desk to help streamline his own personal business over 10 years ago. But now Gorilla Desk is used by over 4,000 companies. And today it's become one of the most premier platforms in our industry. So what's really unique about Gorilla Desk is that it's a simple all-in-one solution that's really easy for your team to use. Gorilla Desk offers a seamless onboard experience and best-in-class support with no additional cost. It's all included in your subscription. Inside the software, you'll find a whole suite of features: scheduling, invoicing, routing, and sales pipelines, integrated VoIP, text messaging, and pretty much all the automation you're going to need, and much, much more. So if you guys are still relying on paper or spreadsheets or fighting with an old software, I highly recommend that you guys check out Gorilla Desk. So we have a link in our description. Click on that and it'll take you right to their free trial. Now let's get back to the show. What's your revenue split percentage-wise from residential to commercial?
It's pretty, I mean, if you take in, like, if we were only to divide it into two columns, we're about 55% residential, 45% commercial.
Okay, cool. And then there's the other percentage would be government contracts, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we end up dividing it up among, I always identify stuff as I say, it's like, we run our business as a four-legged stool. So if each revenue stream, let's say commercial, residential, government contract, and other is one of those is each a leg of the stool. If I lose one of those revenue streams goes away, I'm still standing, right? I've seen franchises, I've seen businesses that were like 98. We do 98% termite work. Yeah, well, how'd that work out for you when the housing market crashed? Right? Where are you at now? Yeah, they're flipping burgers at McDonald's now. So,
what is the craziest day you've ever seen? Like, what's your craziest day ever?
I can't speak for myself. I have one technician who his name is we call the Crypt Keeper. Actually, he just left, so today's his first week that he retired. He's found 17 dead bodies.
Wow.
17 dead bodies in 7 years.
For real?
For real.
That's wild. I was not expecting that at all.
I had a call. Probably one of the weirdest ones I had to call was probably about 3 years ago. It was right at the beginning of COVID, and I got called to a doctor's office for a dead animal smell. So I go. It was a orthopedic. What is a foot doctor, podiatrist, and so I'm doing my search and I'm looking around. I can't find anything. Drop seal, and I'm looking and I'm looking. I can smell it, but I can't find it. I move a couple boxes and I find this box, and I ask him. I say, "Hey, I think it's coming from. Can I open the box?" Say, "I think there's a dead mouse in there or something." So I open the box and there's a human cadaver leg in there, from like the knee down. It was a medical sample that was supposed to go out and it never shipped out.
That was wild. So 17 dead bodies in a cut off leg in a box. That is insane. That's wild. Yeah, I've never ran into that. So like, I gotta ask. So the 17 dead bodies are hoping that elderly people that just passed away and went inside.
Public housing combination, elderly, drug overdoses, suicide, that kind of stuff.
How does he handle that?
I guess he's pretty numb to it at this point because he's like, "Yep, well, found another one." They open the door, they let us in. He was walking around and he's kind of doing his inspection, and he's kind of chit-chatting with the lady who's, trying to wake her up because she's asleep on the couch. "Hey, it's so-and-so. I'm here from Pest Control." And he's like, "Oh, crap." And then he's kind of like has to go through the, go back outside and call 911 and, let the maintenance guys know and all that stuff.
So I thought you were going to tell me like about a dead animal, but now we have 17 dead people on a foot.
Yeah, no, 17 dead people. Yeah. I've never found a dead one. I mean, in the fire department, obviously we have, but not with this, not in pest control.
How long have you been in the fire department?
25 years plus.
And do you work that full time too, or is that volunteer? What do you do there?
Volunteer. So we're on call 24/7. So there'll be times that I'll be, I could be in this, like here right now, and my pager will go off, and then I'll grab my dog, put my dog here, and you can interview my dog while I run out.
Yeah, for sure. What do you see for our industry in the next 3 to 5 years? What do you forecast? What do you think?
I forecast that you're going to see the office staffing is going to go away, and it's going to be replaced. All the people in the office, or I won't say all the people, a good majority of the people in the office are going to be replaced with virtual assistants and AI.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
The technicians, not so much. So that's, fantastic. You're going to see the small guys get pushed out completely because of the cost of doing business. 22% on average increase in just auto insurance this year. It's insane. Prices are going up. Look at the economy. Something's going to give. Something's going to give, and we'll find out November 4th.
Yeah, I agree there. As far as like the technician side, rodenticides, products that we use, what do you see coming down the pipeline there? Can you ever see like California making a move, and now they have an influx of rats? Like, what's your thoughts on that side of the world?
I think they're going to trying to do the right thing. They're doing the wrong thing, and by limiting certain products, that's great. You know what? I'm all about IPM. It's interesting because you see the people in our industry that are doing things the right way and being rewarded by it, by their customers, by their business. And then you see the guys that are stuck in 1987 still doing it the way that I was trained in 1987. They're going there and they're spraying baseboards.
Spraying the whole house.
Power spray the outside. And they're going to push themselves out of the industry because the public, the general public, they don't want that. They don't want bugs, but they also don't want pesticides. So, it kind of comes down to that. You want it good, fast, or cheap. Pick two because you're only going to get two.
I agree with you there. Great point. When you convert, when you first started with the franchise, were you doing home wash, like whole home sprays then, and then recently converted to IPM strategy, or what was that like then?
Pestmaster was preaching IPM 24 years ago. I can pull out my handbooks and stuff from 24 years ago from the original franchise book that was talking about doing IPM back then. I didn't get it. I fought it. I was like, this makes no sense. Why would I put out a pest monitor? Why would I put out Detex blocks in a bait station when I could just put the rodenticide out there? And then if something comes along, that's great. It's going to eat it. It's going to die. Now we're doing exclusion work. We're just doing everything IPM we possibly can. Pestmaster back in the day was a great company that they bring in the top talent to train us at our franchise meetings. Doc Frischman, Paul Bello, these guys. Bobby Corrigan. These are the people that not Doc Frischman because he's retired, but I had Paul Bello. I'm sorry. I had Bobby Corrigan in my office, I think in November, up here training my guys. So, and then I see other companies that I won't name who they are, but I run into their technicians out in the field. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And, I'm just waiting for the phone call from our sales guy because they send out door knockers. I'm like, well, what do you do? I go to school in Utah. I'm a college student. I said, well, what kind of training did they give you? Oh, they sat me in front of a computer for 10 hours and sent me on my own.
Yeah.
I'm a huge advocate for training. We train long and hard all winter long. We don't do too much training this time of year for obvious reasons because we're busy. But in the wintertime, I've already got all my training schedule with speakers booked out for this winter into 2025 already.
That's incredible. How often do you ever bring in a speaker?
About once a month. But yeah, training is important. So even if I have a greenhorn that comes in and doesn't know anything, it's going to be at least 2 months before he's left on his own.
Really? 2 months? Cool. Walk me through that. What's the onboarding process look like for a new technician there? That's fascinating. Ours is 2 weeks.
Yeah, ours is 2 months because we want to make sure they understand the dynamic of what they're doing. So New York State requires a 10-hour course. So the first day they sit through a 10-hour course. right on the onset. That gets them their apprenticeship, and then they're in the field for 2 weeks with a trainer, and then after 2 weeks they're back in the building for their class. So their class is like I think it's a 40 or 50 hour class that's given by our operations manager. I'm sorry, by our service manager, that has to be approved by New York State. Once that's done, then we scheduled them to take their test for New York State, and then once they take their test, then at that point they're pretty much on their own or very close, or they're on a very short leash. And that short leash may be they're only doing green services with IC3 or Nature Side or products like that.
That was going to be my next question is how much of your business would you say that you try to use the 25B products?
We have to use it for our tick and mosquito program. We have to do what's called neighbor notification if we don't use it. So that's very, very cumbersome because you have to notify
every neighbor.
Well, you don't even know their name. How are you going to notify them? So that's how we have to do that. So
yeah, we have to do that in Michigan too. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So everyone they just email us our mail us our registry list. We have to go through by the ones that are in our area and highlight them and call them. It's a pain in the butt. We just put them as a customer and give them the notification.
We just got away from it, and so we just use 25B, so we don't have to notify them at all now.
That's awesome. That's a smart move.
25B or granular products, we don't have to notify.
Yeah, you said, I know you said for your tick and mosquito, you're doing a lot of fogging, right? Fogging grass. Very cool. And do your ball do that this time of year in the spring?
Yeah, April through October is what we're running. Primarily, we sell it as a tick program, and then here we go from there.
Yeah. Did you guys get a lot of snow this year?
No, we had like 3 inches. That's about it.
That's not normal for you, right?
That's shy. That's low for us. We usually probably have about 8 to 12 over the course of the whole season.
And I know you and I talked about this before, but do you get any pushback in the winter from your customers? Like they don't want their quarterly visit?
Not too much because we trained them so well. So it's fine. If you don't want your quarterly, that's fine. We won't go. But guess what? You're still getting billed. What do you mean? Well, what are you going to do when you're here? So we concentrate on inside. And we do some strategic stuff on the outside in the fall that's really helping in the spring.
Yeah, I agree with you there. What's that? You've been in business a long time. So what has been some of the best advice that you've ever been given?
It's for us. It's all about customer service. At the end of the day, it's as I tell everybody who comes into my office for a potential job, I said, if you lie to me, you're fired. You lie to a customer, you're fired. If you sell something they don't need, you're fired. So I like to go home. When I get home, I want to be able to sleep at night. So I don't have to worry about selling somebody something that, oh God, I sold them something. I hope they don't find out that I sold them something they don't need. I don't do business that way, nor will I ever. I have high moral standards, and I expect the same from all my staff. That's basically, it's not really advice other than it's just what I live by. Under promise, over deliver. So you talk to a customer, under promise them, but go way above. So customer service. Don't park in their freaking driveway. Bring in their trash cans for them, even if you just bring it to the top of the driveway.
Yeah, that's one thing that we implement too. The one act of kindness in every service. I don't care if the customer sees us or not. Just something that I live by.
Oh yeah, we found gas leaks at customers' houses that they didn't know about. Go down to the basement. It's like, holy crap! You got to call somebody right or get out of the house. That kind of stuff. Handwritten thank you notes. I mean, we've kind of gotten away from that now, just because the age that we're in, being 2024 now, and the contract will be over by the time the U.S. Postal Service actually delivers it. So.
Yeah, you said that like you almost sleep at night, which made me think of something. What do you like? Because you work a lot, and you're like any entrepreneur or business owner. What do you like to do for fun to shut it off?
To relax, I like to run in burning buildings.
That's always fun. But yeah, you're on call 7 days a week.
On call 7 days a week. My daughter's involved in it, so we travel a lot. So I go to a lot of the conferences and things like that. But we enjoy our family travel time. So we go to Disney, once or twice a year, and try to go on cruises. My son lives out in California, so as as I get further down the road in my career, we're looking at stepping back from the business itself. So, wintertime, my wife and I will be empty nesters in 3 months. My daughter's moving to go to California, to go to Nashville to go to college. So we are going to be empty nesters for the first time in our marriage. So we're hoping to be able to travel and go around and see people and, meet some of our, other contacts here in the industry and just go hang out with them on a weekend, stuff like that.
So I know, like you said, you're coming to the end of the career. What's the end game then, Bob? Like what's your plan?
It's hard to say right now with the new Pestmaster. Pestmaster was bought by a private equity group. So
do you feel that's going to be good or bad? Don't you know really yet?
I will not say a word about that right now. All I will say is I'm not impressed.
Gotcha. Let's keep it at that. We don't need to go any further. In your career, what's been one of the biggest mistakes that you've made that you maybe could help someone else along the way that's listening, that you go back and do it again?
I've been very blessed in my career. I can't really think of any true ankle breakers that kind of really set me, hiring just bad hires.
Yeah, for sure.
My father has always said, fire on your time, and you got to be quick to fire. You got to be quick to fire, and I'm not. I'm way too lenient because we are a family-owned business, so you get to know these people, and you hear about their kids, and you hear about their struggles, and then when they're not, when you have to hold their feet to the fire. It's almost like you're talking to your kids. So it's kind of like, okay, don't touch the hot burner. Don't touch the hot burner. Ow, Dad, I burned myself. Why did you burn yourself? Because I touched the hot burner, right? So there's one of my mentors was Lloyd Smigel. I don't know if you know who Lloyd Smigel is.
No, but you're answering some of my next questions, so I love it.
Cool. All right, so Lloyd and some of the old timers in this industry can tell you who he was. He worked for Truly Nolan, good friends with Truly. He wrote a book called Bug People to Business People. I strongly recommend any small-time operator, no offense, guys, to read the book, find the book, get the book, read the book. It will give you some good insight into stuff. He told a story, and it stuck with me. He's long past, probably 10 years at least now. He's the one who started the Discovery Retreat groups, which are probably today's mastermind groups. So in 2003, 4, 5, and probably up till 10, he was running these called Discovery Retreat groups. So he would invite companies to come in from non-competing markets and sit around and have roundtable discussions. So, I'm here in New York. And and I'm in a non-competing market with somebody who's in Michigan versus somebody who's in California or Texas or Florida. We'd all come together and have discussions and not have to worry about I'm giving out my trade secrets. So that was super, super cool to be involved in that right from the get-go. Robert Kunst, I don't know if you know Bob or not. He's an industry icon. I believe he's in the Hall of Fame. He was in my group. He's out of New Orleans. I think he sold his company, but you can always find him at Pest World. Always find him at Pest World, walking around. But there was a conversation that Lloyd had with me. He was telling me a story. He goes, he was a sales director for a company. I want to say it was Truly Known, but I could be wrong. And he was telling him, he's like, okay, so he brought in the guy and he had a coaching session with the tech. He said, you can't keep doing this or you're not going to be here anymore. 3 weeks later, has the same conversation with this technician again. Can't keep doing this or you're going to be, get fired. You're going to get fired. 3 weeks later, technician does the same thing again. Lloyd brings him in and says, well, You did it. You did it to yourself. Now you have fired yourself. What do you mean I fired myself? You just brought me in here. You told me I'm fired. Well, you fired yourself because you knew what the consequences were going to be. So you actually fired yourself because you chose that course and you kept going. So
I always tell my team that no one should ever be surprised to get fired ever.
yeah, it's one of these situations where, if there's any advice I can give to the smaller companies out there, use mistakes as training and teaching moments. But on the other side of thing, at the end of the day, it's your business and you need to run it for success, because anything can happen at any moment where somebody's dog could get into some rodenticide, um, that kind of stuff. So there's certain things that you just got to watch out for, and you just cannot stand for as an owner. And I've had bad partners that they were part of the business, they were good, they were doing so well that I ended up saying, oh, you know what? Here's 2% of the company, just to keep them entertained and interested with a vested interest. Never again. Absolutely never again. Because you give them an inch, they want to take. Then all of a sudden they want to run this whole show. And as I tell people, in a joking manner, it's lonely at the top, but when you get up to this top, it's a hell of a view. So yeah, but be quick to fire, and be slow to hire.
For sure. Where do most of your, I know you guys do a lot of marketing, but where do most of your leads come from these days?
Word of mouth. But I just did engage with Northwing Digital Media, re-engage with them.
Hey, they'll be out there soon. Shout out to Kyle and the boys, and the gang, I should say.
I've been with them about 2 years, and the first year I kind of put it on cruise control and just didn't monitor it at all, and just wasn't paying attention to it at all. So then I was talking to Matt Eichmann. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, Matt's awesome, man. Talking to Matt, and Matt's like, you need to re-engage with him. They can do this. So, and I was like, all right. So I gave it a shot, and yeah, it's paying dividends. We upped our marketing budget, in my opinion, drastically, but it's paying dividends. So I love all the people that I get advice from in the industry right now. I got some great friends in this industry that really, really, really guide us really well. And I know I can pick up the phone and call them if I have a question, and I'm going to get an answer. Whether I like it or not, I'm going to get the answer that I need to hear.
Yeah. How did you connect with Seth?
Through Paul Bello conference, actually, down in Boca Raton. Yeah, I was in one group, and Amy was in another group, and leave it to Amy. She's making these connections. She's like a social butterfly.
She sure is.
I'm kind of like, I'll just sit back and just like a wallflower. And if somebody wants to chat, I'll chat with them. But I'm not that guy who goes up, hey, how are you? And all that stuff. I'm trying to get better at it. But no, she was in a group with Matt and Seth, actually. And we started talking to Seth. And Seth he's become our consultant and mentor to a certain extent, fashion mogul.
The black shirt. Where's your black shirt?
I was just texting with him beforehand. I said, I got to go put my black shirt on. And but no, Seth's been instrumental in our growth and just coaching. And Seth, I consider Seth a friend at this point.
Go. So what do the next 5 years look like for you?
Big fat bank account sitting on a boat.
Let's go. I mean, you've been at this a long time, right? That's the American dream. Like, there has to be an exit plan at some point. You can't do it forever.
Yeah, I don't know, but we're still working on our exit plan. At this point, I'm not worried about an exit plan, just because the business is being very good to us, and our competitors are very bad to so in our market. So I don't have to really worry about them. So we just kind of write our own ticket, and we don't worry about what the other guys are doing. Because. It's going to sound cocky as hell, and I'm sorry, guys, but the customers in my market pay me now, or I'm sorry, you can pay me now or pay me later, but at some point you're going to end up using us.
Let me ask you this. Had you ever considered opening another territory?
I have had other open territories. So so in 2004, we had an opportunity to go to Savannah. So we went down to Savannah, Georgia, and tried to open a Pestmaster, but there was already a Pestmaster there that was not part of the franchise network. It was just a guy named Pestmaster. So Department of Ag would not let us open up as a Pestmaster. So we opened up as Amy's Pest Control Service. And we had basically about 4 accounts. So we were doing a large bat remediation job. That was our primary account. And then we had Fort Stewart Hunter Army Field Base down there. So that kept I had 2 technicians down there working for a woman-owned company named Amy's Pest Control Service. I had 2 women technicians, and they were both named Heather. All female thing. We didn't have an office. We set the phones up. They rang in Kingston, New York, and we dispatched from there. They went out and did the military bases, and then 2 young gentlemen came upon me at a home show, and Brian and Jeff. And they were Terminex employees at the time, and they ended up buying our franchise. So we sold out, and we went back to Kingston, and then we opened one in New Jersey, and we no longer had that one. We got rid of that one, thankfully, because that one wasn't doing very much of anything. So
Gotcha. Is that one that's down in Georgia still open, or do they stop?
The Savannah one is open. They are the second largest franchise now, which makes me very happy and proud. And the Jersey operation he's there. He's just there. So, but again,
what do you think makes a good operator versus not? Like, I'm sure you see a lot of franchisees come through, or maybe you don't.
And I'll make this suggestion to you, since I know you're now a franchisor. Do not sell a franchise to somebody just because they have a checkbook.
I agree.
And that's the problem that I've seen in the past. It's like, oh, wait, you're an accountant? Oh, you'd be perfect at pest control, And I think we've had 4 accountants in Pestmaster that have owned franchises that have failed. So as I tell everybody, it's opening a pest control business, or any business except for Chick-fil-A. It's not like opening a Chick-fil-A, right? It's people aren't going to line up people are not going to just line up to use you because you just open your door. You have to develop relationships.
Yeah, it's tough, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. It took us years to get to where we are now.
Absolutely. Do you think it's just, I know the answer, but I think it's just the person that has the grit and hustle?
Oh, 100%. It has his grit and hustle, because you can put 3 people in this same exact market and you're going to get 3 different results. How bad do you want to succeed? How hungry are you? When we lost our business down in Florida as the ice cream parlor because of hurricanes and stuff like that, at the time we were struggling already. We have a newborn baby, and then we have we're eating hot dogs and macaroni and cheese and fish sticks for dinner every night, and it takes hustle. You have to be able to go out. I can't tell you how many people in the industry that I know that when at 5 o'clock they turn their cell phone off and it goes to voicemail.
Wild.
I'd love to see a survey, and somebody did it a couple of years ago on Pest Cemetery, and about how many people. What do you do at 5 o'clock? Do you turn your phone off? Do you offer 24-hour service? Dude, we offer 20. I still go out on 24-hour calls, and I got people on call. Why do I do that? Well, let's see. I have a technician at home that lives 45 minutes away. The call is 5 minutes away. That's for a bat. So why not? Hey, Amy, you want to go on a bat call with me? Sure. Put your shoes on. We roll out the door at 10 o'clock at night. Go grab the bat. We're back in bed by 10:30 with $400.
Yeah, I agree. The same thing happened to me yesterday, Paul. I was down in Oshkosh, and someone called, and they're like, "Hey, we stayed at a hotel last night. We had bed bugs. We drove in our car. We had our car treated. Can anyone do it today?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm 10 minutes away. I'll go do it. I don't care. Like, I'm no better than anyone else. If shit needs to be done, I'm just going to go do it." I think they charged $800 to go do the car. It took me 25, 30 minutes ago, they took out everything out of her car. She had some stuff in there, like luggage, pulled the luggage, went through, did an inspection, sprayed it just because I didn't find anything. But just putting in the work, like I'm no better than anyone else. I'm still going to go out there and grind, And I think you'll get a lot of street credit with your technicians. Like if you're willing to still pull the work, so will they.
I had today. They dropped a squirrel or rabbit inside a house call on me. Now, what do you think it is? What do you think it's going to be? A squirrel or a rabbit is going to be a wild is going to be inside somebody's house running around inside a bedroom. 100% squirrel, right? No, it was a rabbit. I don't care how fast a squirrel is. Rabbits are faster. But I'm in there. I was like, I was in there so long, my freaking flashlight battery died on my rechargeable flashlight because I'm chasing them around the damn room. But I got him.
So what'd you do? How'd you get him?
I had to corral him into a freaking have-a-heart cage, and he was so fast that he went in double door have-a-heart cage. That's the only one I had. Double door, I had it open for both sides because I didn't know where he was that time. He shot right through and never hit the trigger plate. Made it out before the door shut. Doing that job was better than finding one dead body, much less 17. So
I agree. Were you laughing or were you pissed?
Oh, I was laughing the whole time. I was like, oh my God. I felt like I was on candid camera
Yeah, I wish you would have been.
And of course, I went there to do an inspection. I wasn't planning on actually finding anything because I don't carry anything in my truck at this point. I'll carry a pair of gloves, but that's about it. And, so luckily I had just what I needed for this job.
I know we're running out of time when you're busy too. You're going to the hospital and that. But one last question for you. What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Oh, my kids. Putting up with all the stuff that it takes to run a successful business. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of hours. And there are sacrifices, I get reminded, there's concerts that I've missed. Just having the support system of the family. And they understand that, if I got to get up at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, we had to go up and we do vegetation management as well. So we had to drive an hour north the other day and be up on post at 6 a.m. in the morning to go spray for all their cracks and crevices in their sidewalk for weeds.
Yep, we do that too. We do a lot of propane places, gas plants, things like that. Pretty cool.
Diversity drives price. So when I have my competitors, they do rodents and they do bed bugs and they do general pest control, but they don't do vegetation management. I'm that guy. They don't do wildlife. I'm that guy. They don't have a canine. I'm that guy. They can't do a heat treatment. I'm that guy.
Is the canine, does it live at the house with you, or you have someone else that does that?
So we are now on our 4th canine. So we were the first company in New York State to use entomological scent detection dogs. Started in 2001 is how long we've been using dogs to find termites. 2004 we cross-trained the dog Sofia to do bed bugs. And we weren't having much luck with the success with the termites, not because we don't have them. It's just because the real estate agents didn't want to see the dog come through. But the bed bug dog's been tremendous for us. We've been the only bed bug dog since 2004. There's imitators, but with us, you can't get past our record of level of service. 2004, that's a long time to be doing bed bug work.
Cool. Well, awesome. I know we're running out of time, but I just say thank you for taking the time to hang out with us today. You're a stud, definitely an OG of the industry, and thanks for taking the last hour to spread your knowledge, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you too. Thanks for keep thinking of me and keep getting me on here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll see at one of these meetings coming up here soon, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate you. Have a good night.
You too.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to another episode of Pest Control Millionaire. We don't charge any money for the show, obviously, but the podcast isn't free. You can pay for the podcast by sharing it with your friends and your family. So please like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. These things make a huge difference for us. If you have any specific questions you want answered about the business or your life by me or my guests, send an email to info@pestcontrolmillionaire.com. And if you want to get in touch with me about any personal business coaching, check out our website at www.pestcontrolmillionaire.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you guys again on the next one.